I'm Josh Chilton with the Ozark National Scenic Riverways. I am the Jacks Fork District Interpreter here on the Jacks Fork River, stationed out of Alley Spring. We are here at the iconic Alley Mill and Alley Spring. The area here in the Ozark National Scenic Riverways has the largest concentration of first magnitude springs anywhere in the National Park Service. They are large, they are numerous, but they don't have to be 81 million gallons like Alley Mill behind me, but they are absolutely everywhere in this part of the country. Now, when a spring dies or it becomes void of water, you then have a cave. So the Ozark National Scenic Riverways also has the largest concentration of caves, over 400 plus documented caves just within the park boundaries.
Looks like about 14-inch smallmouth bass, hopefully.
The Jacks Fork is just one of the two streams that make up the Ozark National Scenic Riverways. It is the Jacks Fork of the Current River, so it does flow into the Current River, and they come together down at the junction at two rivers.
We're doing 2 nights overall on the river, this river and current. We just finished our first night. The water's down low a little bit. It's crystal clear, which is beautiful, but made the fishing a little tough. Tougher to fool fish and they can see you coming from a mile away. But can't ask for better company, can't ask for a better environment. And it's just been refreshing to see this. I haven't seen it in so long. I forgot just these bluffs and these turns and the elbows we've come through. The place is breathtaking. It's unbelievable. We aren't doing that long of a float, but it's given me the opportunity to kind of take everything in high def, so to speak. Instead of paddling through and doing a bunch of miles, we've cut a super short float in half and taken our time and taken all this in, and it's just been incredible so far.
One of the coolest parts about the Upper Jacks Fork in particular is it's one of the only places in Missouri or in the Ozarks that I know of where it's almost a straight canyon. You'll have a bluff on one side of the river, you'll make a bend, and there'll be a bluff on the other side. They don't always line up exactly, but you do feel like you're in a canyon here more than you do anywhere else in the Ozark streams.
There are some unique features all along the Jacks Fork. One of the features on the Upper Jacks Fork River is Jam Up Cave, which is a ginormous cave opening that really gives you a good picture of this karst topography that's underneath us. We also have several unique ebb and flow springs. There's only a few of these found in the entire world, and a good majority of them are found on the Upper Jacks Fork River. Their flow comes and goes kind of like the tides.
We came around this corner here, and Tom was in front and said he saw a bunch of fish start off as soon as we came down here. So we kind of gave him a second to reset, and then now we're catching a bunch of fish.
The Upper Jacks Fork is the pinnacle of kayakers that come to the Ozark National Scenic Riverways in the late spring and early summer with the sheer rock bluffs. It's crystal clear water. It is some of the most beautiful landscape you'll ever see in the Ozark National Scenic Riverways. Because of all that and its remote location as well, fishing on the Jack's Fork can be great. It is a state smallmouth trophy stream, and it has been managed as a smallmouth trophy stream for several years now by the Missouri Department of Conservation and the National Park Service. So if you're into smallies and you're into catching some of those on small streams with light action or fly fishing, the Jack's Fork River really does have some world-class smallmouth fishing on it.
This area is really unique. There's so much stuff for all the family to do. And then all of a sudden, just a few minutes off the main drag, you're out in this beautiful, beautiful river. It's hard to believe that you can get away from all that chaos just in a brief amount of time. You know, lots of families come down here and the husbands and or wives are ecstatic when they find out they can send the family out to do something they want to do and come down here and spend 4 or 5 hours in pure peace and quiet and catch some beautiful trout. So we've got all of that here. Everything you'd want. See that one? Catching. Oh, Natalie. That's okay. That's why they call it fishing and not catching.
Carolyn Parker is, in my opinion, a rock star. She is very well known in the area, has been an excellent guide, excellent instructor. If anybody on the river's catching fish, it'd be Carolyn Parker.
That first time I took you out, we were fishing 4 units, and she caught a fish. It was probably a good 18 inches.
Oh,
I
don't remember that. I don't remember a lot of what I catch unless I've had like a spiritual experience with the fish. Carolyn is so available and she's so giving of her time. She takes each person and mentors them. And so she's always looking for that opportunity to help women. And I think Carolyn has been one of those people who have really influenced the sport for women.
Oh, there you go, babe. There you go, sweet pea. We have a women's fly fishing group that we started in April of 2008. We started out with 12 ladies, but over the years we have actually grown into, I think Bobby told me the last time she took a count on it, we were somewhere around 170 ladies, and these ladies are from all over the place. Many years ago, my parents came down here by accident, and this is the truth. If you want the truth, we were going to go on a vacation to New Orleans, and for some reason wound up in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And this is a God's truth. And I don't know if they were trying to get back to New Orleans, but we wound up, after a lot of driving, in Branson, Missouri. found us a little cabin, got up the next morning, went to a restaurant in downtown Branson, had breakfast at a table that was loaded with other people, and my father overheard some folks talking about fishing. Well, he loved to fish. So he said, "Sir, where you can fish around here?" He said, "Oh, right down the hill." So got in the car, went down the hill. Sure enough, there was what was then the White River. Went back up to Branson, found a Western Auto, got us some fishing rods, got us some worms, went back down and went fishing. And we never made it to New Orleans, ever. We just kept coming back here every year fishing because the fishing was so good. At that time, it was a section of the White River. When they put the dam in, I think about the first 3 or 4 months it turned into a cold water fishery. My dad was furious. He couldn't catch his bass anymore, and he didn't have a clue what a trout was. Once he figured out what a trout was, it was okay. And then we started, catching trout all the time, but we've gone through the change of the river. So that's my story of how I found Branson, and Branson's always been our vacation place ever since, and we finally retired here.
I went up to Dead Horse Hill, broke out my strings, thought to play. If I play loud, if I play long, maybe she might look my way.
When we decided to start this business, we had no idea what we were getting into. We kind of thought we were doing something to support our habits, of which we've both been fly fishing forever. But the neat thing about the fly shop is we have a family. We have some of our people that have started fishing with us when we very first started the shop in 1999 who are still fishing with us. There are days when this fishery can spoil you because the fishing is so good. You hardly throw your line in the water and you've got a fish on. It's a passion for us, or I wouldn't still be doing it because I retired many years ago. I'd be out there fishing on my own, but I enjoy watching other people catch fish as much as I do catching fish myself. It's a beautiful sport. It's a gorgeous sport. And since I started the fly shop and I can get so many other people out catching fish and enjoying the sport like as much as I do, it's even better. I love to see people's faces light up when they hook into their first fish and become addicted like I am. And I am.
My name is Kyle Veet. I am the host of the Ozark Podcast. We started the podcast about 2 years ago, really with the intention of just highlighting the beauty of the Ozarks, highlighting the people of the Ozarks.
My name is Kyle Plunkett, co-host of the Ozark Podcast, along with Mr. Kyle Veet, and we just formalized it today. I'm the chief I forgot. Chief Marketing Manager.
Chief Marketing Officer.
I do ads and find a way for us to at least cover our costs.
He's a better outdoorsman than I when it comes to, he's shot bigger deer, he's killed 2 bears, he catches bigger fish, and
I'm glad this is on tape, man.
I won't lie. I mean, he Kyle, when he goes for it, he goes big. The inspiration to start the Ozark podcast kind of came from us, but then collectively with Daniel as our producer saying that we want to create something about our home, and him having the skills and audio and all that stuff has helped us. There's so much knowledge from people who have made a career in the Ozarks, whether that's guides, biologists, entrepreneurs, you name it. The idea that one day that could disappear was really enough for us to say, we need to record that.
Along with the relationships and the conservation and the stories and the heritage of the Ozarks, I get really excited about some of the kind of the nitty gritty of the tactics. Like, you're talking about, like, I love to hunt deer and catch fish. So even though like this line, this streamer, this pattern, this whatever, I'm eating that up because it's Ozark specific. It's like the type of media that I wish was produced for me.
Yeah.
We decided just to produce it ourselves.
Yeah.
That's why we're doing it.
Welcome back to the Ozark Podcast. We are joined by a special guest of the episode today, and that is Ryan Walker of Ozark Smallmouth Alliance.
My name is Ryan Walker. I'm with Ozark Smallmouth Fly Co, and we are on a thin blue line in the Ozarks, chasing native smallmouth on topwater right now. We're kind of catching them at a disadvantage here. We're in the middle of summer. We got low flows, low DO. So we'll probably find most of our fish in moving water. But, I mean, it's a beautiful morning. It's cloudy. You got to throw a frog. You can't not throw a frog. It would be un-American.
So Ozark Smallmouth Alliance is a grassroots group that me and a couple other guys founded 2015 or 2016. And it's really just a collective of people that are passionate about smallmouth. No meetings, no formalities is all. I love smallmouth. I want to take care of the resource we have. They're native, man. They live here. They grew up here. They weren't transplanted for the most part, and it takes forever to grow a big one. So membership into the Alliance is just an attitude of preserve the species, protect the resource, and promote the resource. My big saying is pay it forward.
Yeah.
Right. So let that fish go. And, Lee Wolf or somebody famous said, a good game fish is too valuable just to be caught once. And that's kind of our mentality. So we'll spend a lot of time on riffles like this, and we'll fish them top to bottom, right? We'll start streamer fishing just to find active fish. And this will cool it down a little bit. This will put a little more oxygen in the water. Also less stressful on the fish to catch them out of this water because they're generally charged up. They generally got a little more juice in them than they do in that flat, slow water that, we're going to row through today. That trophy fish, that fish just has a different gear. That 16 plus inch fish can be 8, 10, 12 years old. A 20 inch fish can be 12, 14 years old, and they just don't grow that fast here. So I saw this sign, and I was fishing one of my little creeks, real small little creek, but I ran into a couple of landowners on the creek that each had 3 smallmouth on a stringer. And the smallest fish on there was 13 or 14 inches. And I just did the math on that aggregate growth, right? So let's say 6 years. Go to the low end, right? Reduce it. And you got 6 fish. That's 6 years of fish. That's 36 years of aggregate growth that's just gone. Now, I mean, those fish are big enough to spawn. They've spread their genes at least once.
Yeah.
But still.
That's a ton of time.
That's a ton of time.
To be gone in
really
one
is.
afternoon.
And, I mean, you can exaggerate it to that extreme if you want. But the long and short of it is, we had a nice conversation about that, and they lived on this creek their whole life. We had a really good conversation about it. They ended up letting the fish that were still alive go.
Really?
And that's when I went, man, these fish take this long to grow, and they have no advocacy. That's kind of where OSA came from, man. It just was that aha moment. Fly fishing especially, until recently, was just seen as this effete, very kind of a rich man's sport.
Yeah,
you know, right?
Of the elitists.
The elitist of the elite, right? And here we come bonking down the river in a rubber boat and big flies, and we're just knocking everything on the head. And so I think over the past decade, fly fishing has evolved from being seen as that specialized rich man, doctor, lawyer, etc. sport to more of a common man, and that's what the smallmouth is.
Yeah,
he's a blue collar common dude, and that's where I identified the best.
Yeah,
I spent my entire first 7 or 8 years of my guiding career fishing for trout that have all these great big political organizations, and the state of Missouri and the state of Arkansas both have great trout programs to generate revenue.
Right.
They're not native fish. We have no native trout in the Ozarks.
Yeah.
These fish in this river, born here, baby. Come on, buddy.
Trying to break me off. Good fish.
Come on.
Oh. Hey, it happens. Get another one. Oh, did he take my fly?
There's hundreds of miles of Ozark streams, but inside this park, there's some really special water. We spent 2 days on the Jack's Fork, got into some smallmouth, but here we got into trout like right away. The upper current starts from springs, and I felt those underground springs this whole time. The water is 10 degrees colder than the Jack's Fork was yesterday, and therefore different species of fish, different style of fishing. I'm still in smallmouth mode, and I need to switch up and start nymphing.
Brown trout have been pretty active this morning already, caught a handful. And it's all been on nymphs or nymphing today for sure. Started off because we all came from a smallmouth stream. We all had streamers on our rods when we showed up, and they weren't really after them. So I switched over to nymphs and they lit up. So I guess it's going to be a nymphy kind of day.
I look out across the water, I smell the salt, I feel the breeze.
In the Ozark National Scenic Riverways on the upper current, we have both a blue ribbon and a white ribbon trout area. You can go fishing, wading up there, you can do it via a kayak, you can walk in, fish. Since the gravel makes up our base layer in our river, it's very easy to walk up and down the current river and find a good place to fish.
So we haven't had rain in a long time, no substantial rain. Been praying for rain for a week before this trip, never came. So we got to fish low. The water's still fast, and seems like little stoneflies and little tiny droppers are working. I'll be honest, I don't know a lot about all the names of all these flies anymore. Whatever John gives me, I'm sure it'll work.
This green worm right here, What size would you say that is? About a 14 maybe? Things like that work really well on the river. But you'll find golden stoneflies, black stoneflies, crayfish, darters. See right there, that's a little something you would use for a pheasant tail pattern right there. See these little guys crawling around on here? So it's a really productive river with great hatches.
Caught a lot of smallies on this pattern right here.
There's tons of food in here. That's why you just catch healthy fish after healthy fish. So much food in such a small river, and all the food's available year round. It doesn't freeze up because the springs around here are keeping the water temperature the same throughout the year. That's really unique to Missouri and the region around here where we have that spring water that comes in, and you know, the water's warmer than it should be in the winter, and it's cooler than it should be in the summer, so the trout and smallmouth and all that just flourish. They never starve. Always eating. There we go. Fish on. Here on the Current River, it is said rainbows do not breed in the wild, but tell me this is a stalker. There's no way. That's a wild bred rainbow. You'll catch little par-marked 3 and 4 inch rainbows every once in a while when you're nymphing. But that there is a different kind of fish than a holdover. Let's let this guy go. Beautiful, beautiful rainbow.
So in 2024, the Ozark National Scenic Riverways will be celebrating a tremendous milestone with its 60th anniversary. Established in 1964 to protect and preserve portions of the Current and the Jacks Fork River here in south central Missouri at the edge of the Ozark Plateau. This was the first federally protected river system of its kind. It would pave the way for later on the Wild and Scenic Rivers Act of 1968 to protect river systems all throughout our country. But it had to start somewhere. And the Ozark National Scenic Riverways was somewhere in 1964. These free-flowing rivers, the species that call these rivers home, the culture and history that was laid down before us in these areas have been preserved for those 60 years, and we hope to preserve those for future generations.
Well, I'm running down the back roads, cotton stuffed in my throat. Ain't got time for me to die. Well, my woman's misbehaving, all my children are escaping. I shake a fist up to the sky. You know, it's funny all the things that go past in my head. So dizzy I can't stand. Just might be a bullet made of silver and lead. Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be great? Church bells, that sound never sounds swell if you're the reason that bell tolls. So I jumped a freight in Lynchburg and headed west to the Tennessee border, wherever that thing rolls. Well, you know, it's funny all the things that go past in my head. So dizzy I can't stand. Just might be a bullet made of silver